Hello and welcome to Gladys Cake Kitchen, where I, Gladys Sania, talks about all things cake. Over here you'll find yourself some tips, tricks, foolproof techniques and well-tested recipes that help you along your baking journey. Occasionally there will be a whole chatty and informative video about your cake and ingredient tools and equipment. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And if you are already a subscriber, I really appreciate your time and thanks for joining me in today's video. I am very excited to bring you today's video because, as we all know, we are just a few weeks away from Christmas. Christmas is a very exciting time of the year, and for what 2020 has been like, I guess we're all looking forward to Christmas despite the uncertainty and limitations we are experiencing. So in today's video, I am going to be bringing you a few ideas and gifts that would help you pick the best present for that wonderful baker in your life you would like to give a present to. Now, this is not just a regular video of haul items. I'll show you what's here, but also some ideas and ways to put these simple gifts together, which will bring a wow factor to that present you're thinking of giving that baker in your life. And ultimately, as you come to think of it, bakers are just regular people, and more than anything, we do want some baking inspired items, but you would find at the end of this video that bakers do like the regular odd thing or just the normal item you probably haven't thought about. It's not all about mixers, whisks and baking items. It's also about simple things like a cup of tea, a mug, and the rest of it in between. So from items from your regular supermarkets to your high street, online retailers and specific vendors online who specialize in personalized items, you'll be sure to get some tips at the end of this video to help you pick that present that would make you look like the most thoughtful person giving a gift. And even better, if you watch this video till the end, you will find that I'll be giving you clever ways of putting these simple items together and how to present them to bring the wow factor. Hopefully in this video too, I'll be sharing some tips and family secrets that has helped me save money and bring a sentimental value to a present I would have given a loved one. So join me in this video. But before we get on to the gifts that I will be showing you, I'd like to take you on a quick trip around town to the shops where I bought these items. Hopefully that should put you in the mood for Christmas shopping. Welcome back. First things first, before I go on to tell you what items you could pick up for a baker, it is always a helpful tip to know exactly what you're buying, or at least have an idea what the person you're buying the present for would like or appreciate. There are a few ways of doing this. First of all, you could be as direct as it comes and ask them. Most bakers would rather prefer they tell you what they need other than you buy an item that is very much unuseful or unappreciated. But you may want to keep an element of surprise to the present you are given. So in which case, it might just not be the best thing to ask the baker what they would like. This way, you could ask someone in your life or a trusted somebody who probably would be well informed about their needs. And if both fails, maybe you can ask the baker themselves for a list of items on the order of preference, which is maybe number 1 for something they really want, and number 3 or number 5 for something they really won't care about. In that way, you get a rough idea of items that they would rather appreciate more than one that they would not. If you're on a budget, the best thing to do is also to ask the person for a list of items, maybe 1 to 5, within a certain budget range. In which case, when you're shopping, you know you're getting exactly what you think they would appreciate or like better. And even for you, you are not going over budget. These are clever ways that you will get to knowing what to buy for that baker in your life. But for a baker, when all else fails, most bakers would appreciate a lovely cup of tea to calm a nerve on a very busy and crisis-filled day in the kitchen, or your favorite drink, which will help them have a tipple when all the baking and minutiae in the kitchen is over. I did a quick survey by asking questions in some baking groups and inquired from bakers what they would want for a present. And the best answer I received was somebody saying, get them their favorite gin to get them through the year. And boy, as a baker, I can tell you how helpful that gin comes. But if you're not a drinker, we'll stay with a simple cup of tea. And that brings me to my very first collection of items, which is a lovely mug for a cup of tea. You would think a mug is a very simple item, but for a baker, a mug can prove to be not just to make a cup of tea which will calm a nerve, but it could prove life-saving, because more often than not, when the crisis in the kitchen hits and the cake is melting away, the buttercream is not conforming, and your cake recipe is falling apart, most bakers would recommend the very medicinal cup of tea, which is likely to calm a nerve before you get back to baking. So from Sainsbury's and Tesco, I picked up a few collections just to show you that a mug doesn't have to be the boring old ceramic thing from which you drink from. It can also be a very prized item that is designed to encourage and bring some cheer to that baker in your life. So the first of the items from Tesco is this Ivy and Fox ripple mug with Hello Gorgeous on it. It comes at £5, and this item would make a very lovely present with other items included, or just as a stand-alone present. By the end of this video, you'll find out how to kind of present a simple item as this, bringing a wow factor to it. The next item from Tesco, yet a mug again, is this lovely Ivy and Fox Art Deco mug. It has a letter on it, so you could either buy it as a spelling, picking different letters that would spell a word, and may come as a set. This also comes in at £5 from Tesco, from the Christmas collection from the Ivy and Fox range. The next collection of mugs comes from your very faithful Sainsbury's. We have Girl Power. What I like about this mug is not just how sturdy it is, but it is a large mug, which means you have more tea to drink and more time to calm a nerve before you get to dealing with a crisis in the kitchen. And what a better way to encourage someone to go Girl Power. This comes in at £4.50 from Sainsbury's. The next mug, which says good times are coming, and boy, don't we all need that very bit of encouragement for 2020, that good times are ahead, and we can't wait to see 2021 because of the uncertainty that 2020 has been. So this mug, as simple as it appears, would still be encouraging someone, and better still, £1.50 from this mug purchase will be going to support NHS charities. So not only would you be encouraging a baker, you will be contributing to saving lives, because we all know how helpful the NHS has been in recent times. So this comes in at £5 from Sainsbury's. Now, the last mug here, which is almost the largest of the collection I have just shown, is this Living Legend. Well, if you do make a lot of cakes like I do, you will find that yes, getting through a 3-tiered cake literally makes you a living legend. So even though Living Legend is not exactly baking related, you will find that you will be encouraging somebody and bringing a cheer to a baker this Christmas by just picking them this simplistic items. Now, if these sort of collection of items at your regular supermarket are too accessible or not very personalized enough, there are a few online vendors where you can get a personalized mug which would suit that baker in your life. Personalization ranges from picking the items or material for making the marks to actually having the quote or the words that you want on the mark. This could be a logo that is printed on it, their favorite quote, or something you think that represents them very well. You could look at Etsy, where you have independent vendors who specialize in these items, or your regular vendor, which you must have heard of, called Not on the High Street. And yes, a few of these items are very personalized. In fact, they are not on the high street. Some of the very popular vendors on these high street outlets are Sid & Co, who specialize in bringing a super personalized touch. And when all else fails, you could pick a regular mug and get to Snappy Snaps. I am not very sure if Snappy Snaps fits into your description of essential shops, but in the past, I have picked a regular mug from Snappy Snaps, had a printed image added to it, which has personalized the mug. So from this, here are a few ideas for you to pick some items from. You could either go shopping next door, get through the lines, queues and hustle of shopping at your regular high street, which is rather affordable, or you can stay in the convenience of your house and order something online. But just so you know, because some of these items on the online retail outlets are super personalized, a time scale is required for this order. So if you haven't made an order yet, I will encourage you to get on with it now so that your item would be done best in time for Christmas gift. Having said all that about mugs, the next thing to put in the mug is some tea. Okay, so you could either get a mug on its own, or a mug and tea set, or a mug and the tea separately. There's a collection of favorite tea flavors you can pick up. The choices are endless. But in Tesco, I picked up this very simple, clear glass mug with tea. Comes in at just a meager £7. But the decoration and presentation of this particular item makes for a very simple present, which can be wrapped and presented on its own as a present, or can be added to a collection of items for that very favorite baker in your life. So when you're thinking about a mug, maybe tea is the next thing to think about. And our regular high street shops and supermarkets are filled with some collection of tea, which you are unlikely to go wrong from buying. But if you're not a boring tea drinker, like I said, the responses I received from the baking forums that I surveyed about presents they would like said your favorite baker would need gin to get them through the year. And I can attest to that. I'm not a gin drinker though, but a few times I have considered having something stronger than tea after the crisis has gotten on top of me, or after a crisis consultation with that very difficult customer. But luckily, a drink is just something to have fun with. And during Christmas, there's a huge collection of drinks that one can pick from. So you will be spoiled for choice from 3 litre, 2 litre and 1 litre drinks that you can buy. I didn't pick up any to show, but these simple ones from Asda are a mini white wine and rosé bottle, which comes in about £2 to be added to a collection of items. So the idea of getting these drinks is to add them to a collection of items which would be bagged together and presented as a gift. So if you have that baker in your life who probably would upgrade from drinking a cup of tea to their favorite gin, wine or whiskey, you will be saving a life by just buying that and presenting it to them. And that brings us to the end of the life-saving measure of cups of tea and drinking. If we're not saving lives or trying to save ourselves, we're busy making cakes. So the next range of items one can consider buying for a baker in their life is either some sort of mixing bowl. So if you're not trying to save a baker's life, you're probably trying to encourage them to get on with the baking process. And with that brings me to the next collection of gift items that I would be recommending you pick for that regular baker in your life. First of the set is a set of mixing bowls. Now you can see there is a few collection of those ranging from ceramic to glass mixing bowl and sometimes to plastic ones. Actually, personally, I do have a collection of plastic mixing bowls that serve a different purpose in the kitchen. But for all intents and purposes, sometimes it is useful to get an item that is fit for the purpose. For a beginner baker, a mixing bowl becomes a very fit for purpose item to use in the kitchen, especially when mixing butter. It might seem like a very simple item or an obvious item to pick up, but more often than not, when one is baking in the kitchen and ingredients have to be measured far in advance, they can take a lot of bowls to do that. So having a very good mixing bowl that does the job right is really essential. This rather large mixing bowl is deep enough to contain the mixing process of making butter, but even better, it is dishwasher safe, can be put in the freezer, and is oven safe at gas Mark 4 or at 200 degrees Celsius. So you couldn't go wrong with this. I picked this particular bowl from Sainsbury's at £15 for this Nordic mixing bowl. The next set of mixing bowls are still from the Nordic range for a set of 3 bowls. Unfortunately, they are not microwave safe or dishwasher safe, so you're going to have to hand wash these when using them. But they come as a set of 3, which can be very useful for pouring out some butter, especially when you have running butter that you are using to bake. So these are a set of 3 mixing bowls from Sainsbury's, and this comes in at £25 for 3. But mind that it is not dishwasher safe and it's not microwave safe. It's not safe to use in the microwave as well. Now, this collection of Pyrex mixing bowls I have shown in the past in a previous haul video, from the 3 litre, 2 litre and 1 litre. The 3 litre comes in at a simple £4 and the 2 litre at £3.50 and the 1 litre at £2.50. So they are fairly affordable, but the way to present this is just the clever ways. It's not so much how much you spend or how expensive the item is. In 2020, we have come to realize how sentimental that thought-based items would be, because we're all stretching out of our pockets. So these simple items might just be simple and affordable, but doesn't have to be in the way you present them. So hopefully at the end of this video, I will be able to show you some clever ways to pick some very affordable items and how to group them and present them in a very luxurious manner. So these mixing bowls, if you like to know what purpose they serve me, check in the last video, which would be the whole video where I showed these items and also told a little story about what trouble I have when I got them from Morrison's. These are coming from Morrison's and their prices are indicated in my previous haul video. Well, one thing that goes very well with a mixing bowl is a hand mixer, or a mechanism of some sort to help with the process of creaming butter. Hand mixers range from branded ones from your regular supermarket to some expensive brands that you would be able to pick up from. There's a list of items I will be inserting in this video to give you some ideas of certain hand mixers you can pick up. As a baker, I have the Kenwood KM30 and also the Kenwood Chef XL. But before I advanced to these gadgets, I was able to use a simple Russell Hobbs hand mixer, which served the purpose of creaming my butter when I needed it too. I did try my hands at a stand hand mixer, which in my personal experience didn't seem very convenient and fit for purpose, because it kept turning out of place and didn't seem to mix the butter very well, or sometimes was just making an awful lot of noise during the creaming process and the creaming wasn't even done properly. So that actually was what encouraged me to advance and eventually invested in my high-end Kenwood mixers. Talking about mixers, a little tip to consider when buying an item like this, which is essentially high priced. You may want to consider buying this at a very intentional time. For instance, during the post-Christmas sale or the Black Friday sale. Or if you missed any of this, consider buying this item in a form of a voucher if you like, and by presenting it So to your baker, some things you feel about specifically in terms of their business. Running a business or trying to learn a new skill such as baking can be sometimes taxing. So picking a subject matter or a focus that is likely to encourage them and make them feel appreciated, inclusive of a gift voucher, might just be the shot you need at this particular present. I bought this mixer during an Easter sale where for the price I had a 20 to 30% discount, which means that I paid a little less than the intended original price. So that is a tip for you to consider when buying high priced items. You could look at Amazon or Debenhams or a few other outlets for this particular mixer. For me, I like to buy these items as these from a trusted source where I can quickly trace my warranty. So this mixer I bought from Debenhams.com, and it was delivered at my regular Debenhams shop where I went in store to pick it up. That was a little over a year ago. With all that said about mixers, cups of tea, drinks, mixing bowls, which are all baking focused, there are times an item may not seem very obvious for a baking purpose, but with a dash of creativity and a sprinkle of imagination, you can pick the regular odd item that is unsuspecting and turn it around, make it baker friendly. So I also have non-traditional items that I picked up from the local shops like Sainsbury's and Tesco that can quickly double up for its original intended purpose and also fit for baking. So these are the collection of items that are on my next to show you. So on my table here are a collection of items that may not seem very obvious or apparent to relate to a baker. And yes, not every item to give to a baker has to be baking scented, but these may serve the intended purpose for what they are, which might make just a good gift for anyone, including a baker, which is not used for baking or would be baking scented, but would still double up equally for a baker in the intended purpose of some cake related tasks. So first of all is this large candle stand, which comes in at £20 from Sainsbury's. This I intend to use as a cake stand of some sort. Now if you take this glass part out of it, you have this base, which is a very black, lovely metal base that can be used as a rustic cake stand. So imagine setting a cake in it at home, which you can use. It comes in handy, and besides that, it can still go back to fulfilling the purpose of putting candles in there. But of course, I wouldn't recommend using candles. And this tray comes in at £25 from Tesco, from the Fox and Ivy range. It is a glass tray that would be useful for home decor and other stuff. But for me, my imagination tells me if I flip it on the other side, the sturdy nature of this means that I can double this as a cake stand. So that yet again, in future videos, I will be able to show you how to present a cake on this particular item. And these ones over here, as non-traditional as they appear or not cake related as they appear, could double up as a tea display stand, a cupcake stand, or a stand of some sort for presentation of cake slices. If you know a baker at home who does servings, well, not in 2020 when face-to-face meetups are very limited, but in terms of their business, if in future or in the past they have had consultations at home where cakes are presented for tasting, this could be a brilliant set for which a cake can be presented, or slices of cake, in the form of afternoon tea, if you like. I have a photograph I'll be inserting just to give you an idea of what this can do. It is actually originally a wall hanging. This is a wall hanging at home coming from Sainsbury's for £30, and this is a trinket set coming in for £10 from Sainsbury's as well. But I was able to pair both and to use it as an idea to present cupcakes, for which it would serve a very good display purpose at a party or even at home at a dining table. It just brings a wow factor to the simple presentation. So for £30, quite frankly, I am not so sure. I think there could be alternatives that would be way cheaper, or a bit of DIY imagination, but you get my point. The idea is to pick up something that would be fit for purpose. And if you're not as imaginative as I am and you want to stick to the traditional use of the item for what it is intended for, it doesn't have to be baking centered. Most bakers do actually collect a lot of items which can easily take up space and leave us no room to put our kitchen items. So for the purpose of a wall hanging, this can end up in a kitchen, creating a space as a spice rack, or items that are baking related, like your baking powder and stuff like that, that are displayed somewhere in the corner of the kitchen as a hanging. And you would be making one lovely baker happy if you're able to kind of use your DIY ability to create a means by which this hanging becomes a purposeful space for which some items are stored. We are back to baking items again, where these baking centered items would be useful for any baker in your life. So to start with, we have these set of measuring spoons and measuring cups. These were featured in my last haul video, which I indicated that I got the Pyrex mixing bowls from. These came in at £4 for these spoons and £6 for this collection of spoons. They are from your regular Morrisons. So this can be added to a collection of items. So you don't necessarily have to pick one item, but you can pick a collection of items that will form a set of presents that would be fit for purpose for that baker you're thinking of gifting items to. There is also a balloon whisk and a pasty brush. So all of this could come as a group of items with the set of mixing bowls to gift someone in your life who loves to bake. There is a salter scale that I picked up from Tesco. An electric scale mixed for precise measurements, which would help recipes when working in the kitchen. So this at Tesco comes in at £10 for the salter scale. There is a turntable here from Sainsbury's for £5.50. Actually, I would say this. My turntable that I've used for all my cakes throughout my baking business is from Sainsbury's, and I bought that for £6. So you don't necessarily need a high-end brand of turntable to achieve a very good finish to your cake. But this particular one would make great for a beginner baker who is trying to frost a cake and is struggling. It comes in handy, it's very affordable, can be added to a bunch of items. There is this beautiful cupcake or muffin cake tray with a lid. So this serves the dual purpose of being able to bake and then cover and stored on the side. In the past, when I've baked lots of cupcakes and I'm looking for ways to store them, it has been awfully difficult to transfer them into somewhere where I can store them for frosting later. But it seems like this comes in very handy, that when after baking, you can allow your bake to cool and then you cover them simply and leave them on the side. So a few of these will come in very helpful to that baker in your life. There is the finest 16-piece cutlery that you could consider buying for that baker in your life. Not because you want them to have a fancy set of cutlery to use for themselves, but well, if they choose to. This is specifically intended for when your baker organizes tastings. Tasting for customers is a first-time opportunity to create a great impression for your business, and also to invite them in on the cake you are trying to sell to them. So having these items would help set up a lovely table for which your customer or intended client would be happy to use. And for a baker, you'll be cutting costs by investing in a lovely set of these for them, and This is from Sainsbury's for £38. So this would make a very lovely present and it's likely to make someone happy. With that, there is a collection of plates. Now I only just picked plate 2 for the intended purpose of showing you what the idea of this is. But it goes hand in hand with the cutlery. If you know a baker who organizes tastings, having a set of fancy plates are a very good way of organizing afternoon teas or during consultations where they would be used to serve prospective clients and customers. There is also a very simple scoop here which comes in handy at £5 for helping to scoop buttercream or scooping some butter ready for baking. Having said all of that with these presents, I did mention there are clever ways you can put these items together, and I'll come to that in a moment. But I realized that in this video I will still not be able to exhaust the wide range of items that could be considered when thinking of ideas of things to buy for a baker. They may range from the items mentioned here to actually buying them baking books full of recipes or decorating books full of some breakdown skills to help them in their new business. Whilst we're at it, I am also going to bring you some boxes or items that you can present your gifts in. And following that is a quick introduction of the gifts that have been put together and the way they have been presented, just to inspire you and give you a little further idea on how to take your item from basic to wow while presenting it. So first on my list is this box, this star box. Now you can see I have a tissue paper in here. You will find what it is for later. I had a mug put in it and with the tissue paper collected nicely in it. This you can have a handwritten card, a tag or a personal letter that you can present to your baker, covering it and sealing it with the sellotape. This comes in at £4 from Sainsbury's. It is at a special price of 3 for the price of 2. So for the price of £12, you will end up paying £8 for picking these 3 boxes within which your gifts may be presented. The next box to present your item in is this branded Christmas box that says Happy Christmas to one and all. This is what it looks like. I have actually at the end of this video presented how this box can be wrapped up or items that you could put into this box for presentation purposes. But this is a lovely box for £10 from Sainsbury's where you could actually just put a collection of some of your favorite items plus a card or a tag or something very sentimental that you can put in, wrap it nicely and present it to this baker on Christmas. A final box is this branded Christmas box from Sainsbury's again, coming in at £5. It is a Christmas labeled box, and yet again you can put a few items in there. In my intention to put it together, it was the cutlery that I put into this particular box. Added some plates and actually the tissue paper as well. So for instance, if you stick the tissue paper in here and the plate and some flowers I picked up from the range, cover this nicely with a gift bowl or something of that sort. I have a picture and will be letting you into a preset box that I had created so that you have a look at how to present this nicely. But the other item that is not baking related that I'd like to show you is this beautiful fox and ivy candle that I picked up from Tesco. That is £10. How beautiful is this? The baker in my mind is thinking about cake stand, cake stand, cake stand. And I'm trying to think about ways that I could turn this into a cake stand, but hey, I'm not going to be able to do that now. Whilst I'm here, I'll let you in on a family secret or family tradition that helped me not break the bank during Christmas. I personally do have a takeaway on Christmas Day. Yes, I do. There is no turkey because I spend a lot of my year in the kitchen. So on Christmas Day, I elect to not be in my kitchen at all. So we go to our favorite takeaway, buy a takeaway and keep it in the fridge or freezer ready for Christmas Day. So we have a tradition where we change into our comfy clothes, pajamas or something of that sort, and then serve ourselves a takeaway and watch television on Christmas Day. Easy and relaxed. That is if we're not having anybody over or we're not invited to go in anywhere. I actually just like the comfort of my own home on Christmas Day. So I have done that in previous Christmas years, except that was before I had my son. So when my son came along, I wanted to keep the same tradition of not doing much, but also wanted to create something for memories for my son as well. So before Christmas, myself and my partner would elect to tell each other 5 items that we really wanted, 1 being very important or preferred, and 5 being not bothered. So we would set this up on a budget, and these 5 items, if we could, would fit into a specific budget not exceeding £100. And when we did that, we would go shopping or pick the most priced item on a voucher or gift card basis, and then a basic practical item. My partner at the time did go through a lot of socks within the year, so whilst I picked him an item that he would prefer on a gift voucher, I also bought a practical item like socks, both of which I would wrap nicely, get a beautiful box from It's a Gift. It's a local charity shop that sells gift items. So I'll get a beautiful branded box from It's a Gift, wrap these items nicely and write a card. We came to an agreement of writing a card or writing a letter about how we felt about each other or how something had impacted us significantly in a good way in the year. Almost a summary of how our year went and how we felt about each other. Now these items were all put in a surprise basis in the box, wrapped up nicely, put under the Christmas tree waiting for Christmas Day. So even though we gave each other a list of items of things we would like, we were not in the know of exactly what we were buying for each other. So when Christmas Day came, we woke up in the morning in our comfy clothes, me in my pajamas, and sometimes in some sort of Christmas gear, an elf or something of that sort. My son, for the first year, had a Father Christmas costume, and for his second year, he had an elf costume. I'll put a picture up here so you'll see what it is like. So we will then elect to sit during the morning, open our present, read the letters out to each other, and then see the practical item we bought for each other. After which we will look at the gift voucher or gift card and consider treating ourselves to an item in the Christmas sale. This helped us get the item we really wanted on, say, a sale basis, which means we didn't pay full price for it. But even better, it helped put the pressure away from us as parents, not buying a lot of stuff for our son that we feel he did not need. And this was a tradition that we hoped we would continue. So this is a little idea for you to take on if you like it, and to consider following up with it, because you would find that it would save you some money and also ease the pressure off you. But when all else fails, you're entitled to buying anything you feel you can, want, and can afford to that special person in your life, in which case would be a baker. So here are a few ideas of how I grouped these items, wrapped them up. Hope you enjoy watching that and inspire yourself with how to upgrade your gift items. Ultimately, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, watching my non-traditional tips, sharing my little family secrets and traditions about Christmas, and overall helping you on your way to picking up a present for that baker in your life. I am grateful for your time and for joining me in this video. In subsequent videos, we'll have some recipes that are Christmas centered because it's the season of joy. I love Christmas. I love the season of Christmas and everything to do with it. And I look forward to the John Lewis alphabet, and I hope you do too. So until I see you in my next video, thanks for your time, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in my next. Merry Christmas in advance.